Shana Tova Nashuvah. You know, I always like to hear it twice. Shana Tova Nashuvah. That was higher. Back in 2019, a rabbi who I didn't know at all reached out to me and asked if I would write an endorsement for a book that she'd just written that was about to be published. Her name is Rabbi Amy Grossblatt Pessah. I said to her, of course, I'd be happy to help, but please give me a deadline because I'm a little bit swamped. I got the book. It's a book about parenting and Judaism. It's called Parenting on a Prayer. I set it aside, and time passes, and suddenly I realize the deadline is tomorrow. So I grab the book and start reading it as quickly as my eyes will take me, just searching for the right words of praise to offer. Right away, I feel a connection to the book because it's all about how Jewish prayer can help us with the holy, hard work of raising children. Also, for the past 18 years, I too have been teaching rabbinical students to see that the prayers inside our Siddur aren't just for shul. The Siddur is the best self-help book I've ever seen. And Amy's book was showing me the Siddur is also the wisest parenting book. I have to be honest with you. I'm speed reading through her book. But right away, Amy shares one of my favorite Jewish mystical teachings. It goes like this. While we're in the womb, an angel comes. Every one of us. While we're in the womb, an angel comes, lights a candle, and we are taught the entire Torah there, in utero. And there we can see from one end of the world to the other. And then, at the time of birth, the angel touches us right here, and we are made to forget. It's like a dream you were sure you'd remember, but now, the moment you wake up, it's gone. But it's there somewhere. And life is that process of so many deja vu, aha experiences, because life is all simply about returning and reuniting and recognizing what we already know. It's already been imprinted upon us. As one Jewish mystical treatise puts it, hold on, I need some paper clips. Also, could somebody move that mic because it's right in my field of vision? Just move it out. Thank you. Just go that way. Just put it that way. Yeah. As one Jewish mystical treatise puts it, the end is embedded in the beginning, and the beginning is embedded in the end. Perhaps parenting is also such a process. At the beginning, you feel completely inept, and then you come to learn what you already know instinctively, not just how to diaper, but how to love. In the book, Amy talks about feeling utterly overwhelmed when she had her first child, Yossi, out of her depth. And then she understood what it means to love someone who, let's face it, you barely know. He's an infant and he just arrived and he can't talk. To love with all your soul. And suddenly, for the first time, she understood the Shema. When it says to love God with all your soul, that's what it means. She writes, I rocked my little Yossi pie on my shoulder. Even so many years later, I remember the moment frozen in time. The sun was streaming through the window. There was a silence immersed in love so deep, so profound, that I knew the love I was experiencing was coming from my soul, connecting to his, and coming from his soul, connecting to mine. At that moment, I had come to understand what it means to love God with all your soul. Amy offers advice to parents who feel like tearing their hair out because they're so frazzled or frustrated or just overwhelmed. She said, try a prayer of gratitude. She says, the one I say is, how blessed am I to have 3 healthy children. She says she prays for her children every single day. They don't know it, but I pray for them every day, for their safety, for the well-being, for their health and happiness. Even before I get out of bed in the morning, I ask God to watch over them and protect them. I continue reading, learning to see the beauty through your kids' eyes. Her middle son looks at a sunset and says, Mom, it's pink, it's pink, it's pink, and it's purple, and God made it just for me. She speaks of her daughter, Bat Ella, who freely talks to God on a regular basis. There's a section on when to push your kids and when to let up, and how she trusted her own intuition to force her eldest Yossi to continue studying guitar lessons, even when he wanted to give it up. She writes, soon he began practicing on his own without prodding. He would go into his room to play guitar when he was frustrated or sad or angry. It was amazing how he understood this intuitively. She speaks about the nachas of our children becoming our teachers. She writes, we become blessed through our children blessing us. Watching in awe as battling brothers learn to become friends. How the eldest dotes over the youngest. To see your kids becoming mensches before your eyes. There's a moment when Yossi is in a state of ecstasy, splashing joyously in a muddy puddle, and Amy learns from him what the word hallelujah means. She writes, how wonderful to see the world with those eyes, to see the world anew each day. Hallelujah! Amy describes all sorts of challenges, a car crash, and the gratitude to God for coming out alive. She talks about praising God for the light and the darkness, in good times and challenging times. And her son Yossi was definitely challenging times. She shares, there have been many times over the years when I have lost my temper and didn't think I had another ounce of patience left inside me. I have spent many a moment in silent prayer asking for help and guidance on what to do with my obstreperous Yossi. Every time I got the same answer. Open your heart just a little bit wider and love him even more. Not exactly what you want to hear when you really just want to scream. Love him even more. And then you blink your eye and your kids are teenagers. Her daughter needs more space and closes the bedroom door, and it's difficult for a mother to realize she has to pull back to make room for her child to grow. And now it's time for her eldest, Yossi, to fly the coop. I remember when he was born. As my son crosses over into the unknown, I imagine that we both feel joy and affirmation, gratitude, excitement, and a bit of trepidation. Neither one of us know what the future holds. And yet, we have faith that everything will be okay, even in the midst of the unknown. She writes with nostalgia, I want it back. All of it. Every moment. The times when I was ready to pull my hair out. The hugs and kisses and bedtime snuggles. The very, very long days and the very, very short years. I want them back. All of it. She also comforts herself that chronologically those precious times may be over, but in what she calls space-time reality, it is all happening right now. She says to herself, looking at her now manly son, I won't even count the months he has left. Instead, she says to him, you look so handsome. Thanks. He smiled, a bit embarrassed. I mean, seriously, who likes to hear that from their mom? I think to myself as I'm reading, the end is embedded in the beginning, and the beginning is embedded in the end. It's a sweet, wise book, I think to myself, full of shenanigans, highs, lows, and through it all, love and faith. I'm making record pace through the book, and I write my blurb. Parenting on a prayer is a gift for every parent to have and to share. Yada, 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 you get the picture. Ta-da! I'm done. It's September 5th. I've got Rosh Hashanah on my brain. I kept my promise to Amy. I'm putting the book away. And then I notice, oh, there's an afterword, an epilogue. I didn't see that. I guess I should take a look. I open the book to the back and read. Never in a million years would I have anticipated that these stories would serve as a memorial for my eldest son, Yossi, who died on February 14th, 2019. Yossi died of an inoperable brain tumor. He was 20. And now, in this epilogue, Amy shares a final conversation she had with Yossi. Yossi, how much longer do we have? How much longer do we have? Amy, I don't know. What do you think? Yossi, how much longer do we have? Amy, how much longer until what? Until you go home? Yossi, yeah. Amy, I don't know. How much longer? Yossi, until you go home. Amy, no, I'm not going yet. But if you decide to go, how will you make yourself known to me? Yossi, I won't be known. I'll be gone. Amy, you know what I believe? That you may be gone physically, but your soul is eternal. It will be with me always, We will always be together throughout all time and space. She writes, I can no longer hold back my tears. He sees me crying and squeezes my hand. I continue saying to him, remember what Einstein taught us. He was a really smart man, right? Energy is never destroyed. It merely changes form. So you will always be that most magnificent, eternal part of you will always exist. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yossi. Yes. Amy. How will you make yourself known to me? Yossi. I don't know. I will let you know. Amy. Okay. I'll be waiting for your answer. The end is embedded in the beginning, and the beginning is embedded in the end. I sent Amy my blurb and offered her my deepest, deepest condolences. And then I read Amy's book again and again and again. It's not the same book anymore. It's no longer sweet and wise. Every encounter is so precious, so heartbreaking, and the challenges feel like feathers. You want to hold on to every scene, treasure every tantrum, and the breathtaking innocence of every word she wrote then, how it echoes now. I rocked my little Yossi pie on my shoulder, even so many years later, coming from my soul, connecting to his. I am so blessed to have 3 healthy children. God made this sunset just for me to love with all your soul. Hallelujah! I ask God to protect them every morning. I want it back, all of it, every moment. The times when I was ready to pull out my hair, the hugs and kisses and bedtime snuggles, the very, very long days and the very, very short years. I want them back, all of them. I won't even count the months he has left. To love him even more. Nashuva. Originally, I'd read the book in innocence from front to back. But reading it from back to front made the book so breathtakingly powerful. You know, we always warn people, spoiler alert, as if knowing the end of a story will ruin it for you. But sometimes knowing the ending makes the whole story sweeter. I see a radiant glow now over the whole book. I can hear a soundtrack now, like in a movie, when 2 lovers are innocently holding hands, but mournful strings start playing and you realize how little time they have left. Nashuva, the love for rereading a story is what captivates our souls. There's always something new to find. It's what children know instinctively. How many times have you read Goodnight Moon? And that's Torah too. We read it over and over. And spoiler alert, we know how it's going to end, but it doesn't end. We keep coming back again and again. We keep rolling the scroll backwards and forwards, revisiting it, constantly revisiting with the soundtrack, a chanting, making every word more sacred. And time? Time is irrelevant to Torah. The rabbis say, En mukdam u'meuchar b'Torah. There is no earlier or later in the Torah. Time circles back on itself. It's all happening at once. Nashuva. For 4 years, I've been reading Amy's book. For 4 years, I've wanted to speak to you about it. My innocence is gone. But her pure innocence in the book, her faith, her joy, I just wish I could keep her there forever, protect her. I reached out to Amy just last month, and I tell her, Amy, I'd like to give a sermon about your book. She's happy to speak with me. I set a date and a time, and we get on a Zoom together. I say to her, Amy, I've been reading your book over and over, knowing about Yossi's tragic death. Knowing it, it's a different book. I said, please forgive me for asking you these very, very difficult questions. But Amy, she's eager to go deep with me. I ask her, how will you make yourself known to me? Does Yossi make himself known? She says to me, he makes himself known to me all the time. There'll be a message in a license plate or a song pops up on the radio. I always ask him every day, how will you make yourself known to me today? She says, I'm always looking for signs. And then she asks me, Naomi, how long have you been wanting to reach out to me? I say, 4 years. And she said, and you picked the date that we should talk today, yes? I say, yes, I did. She says, you should know today is Yossi's Hebrew birthday. So I just wanted to acknowledge that and welcome his presence and his spirit and just call him into this conversation, because I don't have a doubt that he somehow had a hand in connecting us. I'm speechless. We talk about the veil between the worlds of the living and the dead, and that Yossi studied hacking, which she wasn't very happy about. He studied computer hacking. But Amy has no doubt that Yossi has figured out how to hack the universe from the other side into our realm. Amy tells me that she hasn't read her book once since Yossi died, and that it was written in total innocence. Of course, her innocent faith in the book has been shaken to indescribable depths. She told me early on in her grief, a friend of hers was having an adult bar mitzvah, and Amy decided to go to shul. But in her car, on the way to shul, she looked up to God and said, I just want you to know, I am not going for you. I am going to help Lenny Berkowitz celebrate his second bar mitzvah. I have nothing to say to you. I'm not going to utter a word of prayer. And I don't want you to misconstrue my showing up at services as any sort of praise, because we're done here. She told me it took me years before I really could feel comfortable praying. Neshuva. In our grief, all of us want to turn to God and ask that same question. When will you make yourself known? At the same time, when Amy's brother asks her, I don't know, how do you get up each morning? Amy says, because the world is full of so much beauty, and I don't want to miss any of it. And so as painful as it is, and as wide of a gash in my heart that I have, I don't want to miss the beauty that's in this world. Amy tells me her faith is evolving. She says, my current belief at the moment is, I believe that we are souls, and that we incarnate, and that we choose to have different life experiences, and for whatever reason, that was Yossi's experience. I believe that his soul knew that his was going to be a short journey. So I don't blame God. And I believe that God has very big shoulders. Amy added, I believe that our children pick us. Their souls pick us. And when I see beauty and wonder in this world, that is God. And the messengers of God, Amy has seen so many. Amy tells me there are angels bearing gifts even from the past. She said part of what gives her strength to survive is a gift from our ancestors. She told me, I said to myself, if your ancestors were able to survive the Shoah, you can survive this. I ask Amy, in your final conversation with Yossi, what does the word home mean to you now? She tells me she was in a forest and sat beneath an ancient tree and wailed and wailed. She said, there are no humans who can hold the depth of my grief. Only the trees, the forest. That's where I feel most at home. We talked about how glad Amy was that she prodded Yossi to continue studying guitar. She said he came into himself through music, and it never left him. Even at the end, one of the few things that he could still do was play guitar. And when he stopped playing, we knew it was the day the music died. Amy looked at me and she asked, Naomi, can you please explain to me again what you've been feeling about my book as you reread it? I said, Amy, there's a reading this way, and there's a reading this way. And life is about the meeting of the life that's lived this way and the life that's lived this way. Life is the meeting in the middle of that place where they overlap. And I feel it's got something to do with how will you make yourself known to me? Home and hallelujah and a soundtrack. Amy said, "Oh no, stop!" I thought I offended her in some way. God forbid. She said, "When you said hallelujah and a soundtrack," Leonard Cohen's Hallelujah was the soundtrack of Yossi's departure from this world. It was the song the music therapist picked for him to play in the rehabilitation facility. He could remember it. And it was the song. We were all encircling Yossi at the very end. All 5 of us together, playing the music on his phone, on shuffle. Led Zeppelin, the Beatles, Queen, Rolling Stones. And hallelujah came on. A cold and broken hallelujah. Amy said, right then, the memories came flooding in. Family vacations and dinners, arguments and festivities, parenting challenges and successes, celebrations, campfires, carpooling, everyday conversations. It all washed through my mind, and then I felt it. Love and gratitude. Love and gratitude began pouring in at an astounding rate. Amy's own words from her book flashed in front of me. In time-space reality, it's all happening right now. The end is embedded in the beginning, and the beginning is embedded in the end. Amy told me she's beginning to be able to bless God for the darkness too. She tells me grief is praise, the expression of boundless love. And a mentor has been teaching her darkness is a place of growth, a seed in the ground. All of us in the womb. Suddenly, I can hear that mystical teaching. The fetus in the womb with the candle and the angel. We can see from one end of the world to the next. How we are made to forget and how the soul remembers. The next time I speak with Amy was right after Shabbos. It was Yossi's bar mitzvah portion. And she read his portion from the Torah in shul. And she wore Yossi's talis. And when she looked down at the talis, there's a chocolate stain. Amy said, and I remember being so angry then. And I remember thinking, can't you just keep your talis clean? You just got it for your bar mitzvah. What are you doing getting chocolate stains all over it? And now I look at the chocolate stain, and it just brings a smile on my face. Neshuva, the book of life we're all praying to be sealed in on Yom Kippur, we're all living in the book of life. Spoiler alert! Yom Kippur keeps trying to tell us this. We should all live to 120 in health, but there's an epilogue for all of us. And we live life this way. And we live as if there's no soundtrack. And we mess things up because we don't understand that. We can't hear the soundtrack because but your soul hears it. From the time you are in the womb, your soul hears it. We choose to only see this one reading. Like Hebrew and English, there's this other reading with the soundtrack. The minor and the major with all its notes. Hallelujah for it all. And all the colors in the radiant glow. And all the emotions in their full richness, the whole mess with the chocolate stains. The sweet moments tug on your heart. The difficult things are more like feathers. We don't hear it. But it's planted here as clear as day, hiding right here in the spotlight, saying, if you could only see how breathtakingly beautiful your life is here in this moment. It's where the two readings of life intersect. Your innocence and the knowing. And that place where they meet, that's home. And that's what the word teshuvah means. Coming home. Nashuvah, we will come home. And it's always here, now, in this moment, right where you are now. Treasure this conversation. Slow down. Put down your phone. Don't hold on to that argument so tightly. Let it go. Forgive. There's so little time, and this day is so precious. How will you make yourself known to me? That's not only a question for the dead. It's for us, the living. When will you make yourself known? You in your fullness. I am hearing my Father right now saying it to us this way. Let yourself shine. Amy's book, I told her, you're not only teaching us how to parent. That's the cover story. You're teaching us how to live and how to mourn and how to heal and how to love. Even more. Amy said to me, Naomi, Yossi made himself known to me on his Hebrew birthday through you. Thank you for being that messenger. I said, I am so honored to have been used. I know Yossi is blessing you and loving you always and always, even more.